Hello and welcome back to another episode of Read the Book First. We are celebrating all December with the Percy Jackson Spectacular Month. This week we're discussing two different adaptations. Most of the episode we discuss the highs and lows of the 2010 film adaptation, Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Lightning Thief. At the end of the episode, we also talk about The Lightning Thief, the Percy Jackson Musical. If you look in the show notes, they'll have timestamps so that you can find your way through those. Just some housekeeping. If you're listening to this podcast on Spotify, you may or may not realize that last week's episode, the one on the Percy Jackson novel, is not on Spotify. Spotify decided that it wouldn't show up, and I am still trying to troubleshoot that issue. So if you are a Spotify listener normally, remember that you can go to our website, readthebookfirst.buzzsprout, buzzsprout.com, to listen to all the episodes on the media player there. Next week, December 20th, the first two episodes of the Disney Plus TV show adaptation of Percy Jackson comes out, and we will be recording our episode very late on Wednesday, and I'm assuming I'm not going to be able to edit and upload it till Thursday, so next week's episode may be late. We'll see how productive Amanda and I are next week. Next week is the last episode of Season 1. We will be coming back for Season 2 in 2024. I've yet to decide what day, so make sure you're following us on Instagram because that is where we make the most announcements and info on schedules and such. You can find us on Instagram at Read the Book First Podcast. I highly encourage you guys to check us out there to help keep track, and also let me know your thoughts on Instagram. DM me. I may or may not reply. I think that's it for housekeeping. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to leave us reviews, and let's get into the episode. We are back. Amanda's back here to help me with episode 2 of the Percy Jackson Spectacular Month. And boy, oh boy, am I actually excited to talk about the movie today. Poor Amanda. I mean, you did fall a little... I'm pretty sure this is more of a volunteer than a voluntold situation.
No,
it's
right. I didn't look. We'll talk about it in a second. Let me introduce myself. I'm Amanda. Hi.
Yes. If you have not listened to last week's episode, last week we talked about Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan, the book. Go listen to that first, because it'll be a more pleasant more pleasant opinions, I'm assuming, on that one than this movie.
Like, when I agreed to do this episode, I thought, because I don't remember which one it was that I had that we had this discussion on. But I have very strong feelings about Treasure Planet, but that's just because I'm so attached to the book and yada yada yada. And I realized upon rewatching it, I was being really hard on it, and it wasn't really fair. And there are a lot of things that are really good about it. And I'm not gonna lie. I went into this kind of being maybe I'm just being too hard on this movie. 5 minutes in, I was like, nope, never mind. Absolutely not. Never mind. And oh God, it just got worse.
Yes. So today we're going to be mostly discussing, first we'll discuss the 2010 film adaptation of Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Lightning Thief. We'll finish the episode talking about The Lightning Thief, the Percy Jackson musical. So stay tuned for that, because that'll be a more pleasant section of the podcast. Not that if you enjoy people ranting, you are in for a treat, audience. So before we really dive into it, and before I let Amanda go full ham, as I know she is going to do, this movie was directed by Christopher Columbus, the same director who I believe directed the first two, if not the first two Harry Potter movies. Did you notice that Christopher Columbus's film company is called 1492 Films?
Actually, I wrote a note about that because when that kind of popped up on the screen, I was like, oh, does this movie start in 1492? That's I low-key thought the movie started.
So
weird.
I'm assuming his parents.
I'm assuming his a thing where they show the civilization shifting to America with Columbus. That would be weird.
No, I'm assuming his parents obviously named him Christopher Columbus, which is a choice for those parents. But like
Hmm.
he did not have to go full into that motif with naming his
Hmm.
film company that. That's besides the point. Did you see this in theaters?
No.
Okay. I saw it in theaters with my friends because again, nothing to do in small town Alaska in the winter months. Um, most of us had read the books. Most of us enjoyed the movie because of two words, Logan Lerman. Logan
Okay.
Lerman is my and my friends' collective like celebrity crush. Me and two of my best friends from high school that I still talk to every week have a group chat called the Logan Lerman Lovers to this day that we created that group chat like 2 years ago because he's still beautiful. He
Okay.
is a great actor. And I just want to go into this saying that most of my positive viewpoints on this movie are because of nostalgia, because this is a movie that Courtney and I would watch all the time when I spent the night at her house. It was either High School Musicals or this. So like it's very nostalgic to me. And then
Hmm.
number two, I love Logan Lerman.
I actually like this movie. I think, and I'll kind of get into this a little bit more later. I think the thing that makes me so frustrated with this movie is there are legitimately a lot of choices and things that I really like and are good.
Mhm.
And then they ruin it a lot and they do dumb things a lot. And it makes me angry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, let's talk about the movie. So it opens up with a scene that automatically is different from
Hmm.
the book. I liked the beginning of this movie. I thought the first 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, like obviously they changed a lot of things to make it a movie because we have less time than this really thick middle grade book, right? I thought it
Yeah.
was there are good choices at the beginning of this to make the exposition go fast. We start
Yeah.
with Poseidon coming out of the ocean,
Oh my God, that
full
water
Roman.
transition is
Yes,
so
it's
cool.
so
So
cool.
like for those of you who haven't seen it in a while and don't watch it, there's this
Or
guy,
do.
like, they show this guy like walking along the edge of a pier and he's giant, giant, giant. He like eye side eyes this poor guy who's just looking at this giant guy out of the water. And then it like transitions and the water shifts and he's like normal size. And it's
Hmm.
so cool.
Yeah, so we immediately, as the audience who have we're presuming, because like with film adaptations of books, you have to presume at least half your audience has never read this book, right?
Yeah.
With kids' movies, it's the parents for most of them.
Like,
So we right away have the vibe, oh, Greek gods are real, they're
mhm.
powerful and magical. Cool, we got it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I want to reiterate because I don't want you I like when you said that you might have positive feelings about this movie, I was like I need to be fair and I want to be clear. When I'm complaining about things, I'm not complaining just because they changed it. Like I also don't have a problem with this opening except for like two things. Also, side note, the captioning when like Poseidon's about to go up on top of the Empire State Building
Yeah.
was resolute sigh, and it was so funny.
That'd be a good hat that said Resolute Sigh on it. Honestly, merch.
I need that shirt. I need to like,
Yep.
wear that shirt when I teach. One, like Zeus is like, it's been many years, and I'm like, you guys literally meet twice a year. What is this? What is this nonsense?
Okay, that's very, very minute, but okay.
It's not. It's like a big detail in the book. The whole point is that they come together and they're Olympians and they're hanging out. It's silly to be like, we haven't seen each other. No, you literally run the world. Like, what are you doing? Anyway, I do love Sean Bean as Zeus.
Sean Bean as Zeus, so good. Sean Bean, love that man. But yeah, so essentially Sean Bean, aka Zeus, and Poseidon have a big, like, grumpy brotherly argument on the top of the Empire State Building.
He's
But
like,
the
I know you stole
conflict
my
is
lightning, thief. I know you stole my
yes.
lightning, and your kid did it. And I'm like, Zeus, you don't know
And
he
he
has a kid yet,
and
but okay.
Poseidon's like, don't blame my son, he's innocent. Like he's like immediately defensive. Like the drama is at a 10. And it's like a little bit like if you are a pure like if you're looking for like the book, like to compare it to the book, it doesn't make sense with like the context of what should be happening. But
Hmm.
I do like it for the quickness of the exposition. It's like, okay, the audience knows exactly what's happening, like real
Hmm.
fast. And I do like that. I mean, it could be better if they wanted to get more of the context of the like
The
how
only
the gods
thing,
working in and out.
yeah.
Yes, but I like
Honestly,
it
so
going
like my
fast.
only real like I like joked about it earlier. Like, isn't Percy a secret? I actually like put this on Reddit because I was curious.
Hmm.
Um, I joke about that, but it's like that's not a huge problem. It's not a big detail. I
Yeah.
know I'm bringing it up, but my bigger issue is how like Poseidon is like my kid, and it's like it leads into my bigger issues, which is like the gods don't care about their kids. It's a
Hmm.
plot point, and you're making it seem like such a big deal. And it's like he would be pissed if Percy got killed,
Yeah.
but he's like more upset that Zeus is accusing him than like
Yeah.
being like,
And I
"Bleh."
feel every time the gods come up, it's a very like Western take on the Greek
Oh,
gods.
don't
And I think that's
yeah.
like the vibe
Oh,
of it. Like we'll get that into later, but even when it
we
with
will
the
get
like
there. Oh my God.
even with like the positive side of like the more pleasant attitudes of the gods in this scene, like when he's defending his son, like that's a very like, oh, we must have empathy. The gods must have empathy because that's how Western society like thinks the god. You know what I mean? It's very
Yeah.
much like that vibe. I felt.
Yeah, honestly, like I wrote this after the very first scene. This movie just doesn't understand the books, and it doesn't.
No, it
It
doesn't.
doesn't.
I will
It
go
doesn't.
into that. Don't worry, I have so many notes. And then the next scene I love. We meet Percy Jackson, our hero, our main character, Logan Lerman, is sitting on the bottom of a pool. And I love this, like aesthetically. Love it. And also, I was a pool kid. I was a competitive swimmer my whole life. I used to
Hmm.
do this. I mean, not for 7 minutes. He sits there for 7 minutes without coming up for breath. But like we would go down to the deep end and just like sit and like see who could hang out there the longest before going up. So like I love that.
Hmm.
And then he goes up and we see that his friend is sitting at the edge of the pool timing him. This is where we meet Grover. And I like the
I love Grover at the beginning of this movie,
me too at the beginning of this
specifically
movie. Yes.
at the beginning of this movie, because we will get there.
Yes, I agree. The first half of this movie, Grover, I love, but honestly, the actors for Grover and Percy, I think, are really good. And
Yeah,
like, I think, and actually, throughout this movie, I mean, we already had Sean Bean, and like, this is like he is
literally with
getting all the
one
roles.
exception, I think they picked the right actor for the roles in
Hmm.
all cases, except for one exception,
Yeah,
which
which we'll, I'm assuming, get to.
we we will get to.
But like,
Oh, we will get to.
I think the actors, this movie, like as we go through, it's more evident that the actors are acting their butts off. It's just the
Mhm.
writing of this movie sucks, and that's my biggest complaint with this movie as we go through. And we'll get to that.
And I think the beginning is, and it's so like I at the very end of this, I want to tell you how I would make this movie better because I
Hmm.
love to pretend that I can make things better. And I think the beginning of this movie is fine. The choices that
Hmm.
they make are smart. Yeah, I don't
Hmm.
love every single one of them, but like I love the like little looks that Grover's giving him when Percy's like,
Hmm.
"Yeah, I don't know why I can sit underwater for 7 minutes."
Grover, yeah, I wrote down Grover knows, LOL. Like Grover is like, I wonder why you can sit in the bottom of a pool and not have to breathe air. Like,
Hmm. And they
um,
like, they make changes like Percy goes home. He's not at a big fancy
yeah,
academy.
that's
Like
fine.
he Yancey Academy is just like the name for a like
Hmm.
it's like the alternative school and they're calling it academy so that it
Yep.
sounds better.
Yep.
Like
Um,
fine.
I do have a quick note on Logan Lerman's hair throughout this movie. It's very 2010, obviously. This movie was filmed in 2009, came out 2010, but it is very like Dan and Phil slash Smosh hair. Very end, very alt boy love. What
Hmm.
is it good now? No, but in 2010,
There are
good
moments when
choice.
his hair is like really cute,
Hmm.
and then there are moments where I'm like, that looks dead and lifeless, and I'm kind of worried about the rat you have on your head.
Yep. We meet. We he Percy goes home and we meet Sally Jackson, as we talked about in the book, a queen. In the movie, she gets less screen time, but that's because there's less time to give her, right?
The people who fucking wrote this movie don't know how to write women, and I stand by that.
No, I agree with that. Yeah, it's a man
And
who wrote the
like,
script.
it's a man who wrote the script, and it's like immediately obvious, and we'll
Yeah.
get there.
Yep.
So like, Sally's fine, but I look at her and I like she just feels so much flatter,
Oh,
you know?
absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
it's
And
and it's
yeah.
not just the screen time though, because like you can. like it was on screen for like 10 seconds. Hades, and we'll get there. Hades is on screen for 5 minutes,
I
and he
think
has more deaths.
yeah, no, I agree. I just am saying I just love Sally so much in the books that I'm like Sally.
Yeah.
But then we meet her husband, Percy's stepdad, Gabe, who is awful. And he's way more like they get to the point that Gabe is abusive way quicker than they do in the books, which I think works for how little time they spend there.
Yeah. I think,
But
I mean, I think the bigger point is like in the books, a lot of it's just kind of off screen, like Percy tells us about it.
mhm.
And in this, like, he's also
He
more,
grabs Percy,
he
he
grabs
grabs
Sally's
Sally.
butt within like
Yeah.
a minute. And it's like, oh,
Hmm.
okay, you're a fucking creep.
Yep. Absolutely. Uh then the next scene is Percy
Oh,
going,
also real fast because we meet Mrs. Dodds, his substitute English teacher, and they have that
oh
really cool
yeah.
visualization of the dyslexia, which is really cool, and I
The
appreciate it.
dyslexia visualization is so cool in this movie.
Until they ruin it in like 2 seconds.
You don't like it later?
No, so I love it, except when they start being like, "Oh, now Greek is English," and I'm like, "No, the whole point is that Greek is also hard for them. They're dyslexic in both languages, guys. Like that's how it works." And it makes me annoyed.
All right. I thought it was fine. I kind of liked it, but whatever. Uh, they are going to the museum, and as they're walking to the museum, Percy hears Poseidon's voice in his head, and he looks across the
Poseidon
street, and
literally
then
shows up.
Poseidon's standing there. And I voiceover, you either have to do it over the top and in a cheesy way for me to like it, or you don't do it. And they did not do it. It's in their world with these rules that they have changed from the book for the movie, a quote makes sense. But we don't know all those rules yet. And like it's also not doesn't really make sense. But like whatever.
It's
It's them
also
trying to make it sense.
it's dumb. It's just
Mm-hmm.
like you just want to show us that something's about to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so then like just like in the books, like Chiron's talking and he's like translating. They talk about the story of Kronos,
Mm-hmm.
which they talk about the story of Kronos and like then Mrs. Dodds, the substitute English teacher, pulls Percy aside and then like turns into a fury and attacks him. He
I
gets
liked this battle. I thought
That's a
this
good
was
battle. Yeah.
it's a good battle.
I love poor Percy in this scene because he's literally like, it's a pen. What are you talking about? This is a
Mm-hmm.
pen.
Yes. It's good. They like play out the pen sword situation really good.
I also love how like genuinely freaked out he is because like
Mm-hmm.
whether they acknowledge it or not, they age up like Percy by a couple of years, and so it's not
Well,
like a
everyone's
12.
supposed to be 17 in this movie.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was 15 because like they made like a big deal in the all right, whatever.
It's supposed to be no. Okay, so I won't go too
We'll talk
into
about it
it.
later.
We'll talk about it later, but like they do a lot of backtracking in the Sea of Monsters on purpose.
Oh yeah, they do
Yeah.
because this movie sucks. I don't know. Anyway, like we'll get there. We'll
But
get
yeah, so
there.
they're 17. All the kids are supposed to be 17 minus Grover for reasons.
Yeah. But anyway, the point is like the thing that's cool about it is since he's older, instead of just being like, what the fuck, he's like, oh my God, I almost died. He's
Yeah. And then Grover's like, we gotta go. And and then Grover and Mr. Bruner are having this conversation. And Percy's like, guys, explain what's happening. And they're like having this, like ignoring him. And just like it's almost
Mhm.
like again, like in the book, gaslighting him like in the moment, being like, okay, we're gonna do this and this and this. And
Well,
then
they don't gaslight him. They're
not
just like, hey,
really.
we're not gonna explain nothing to you. We're just gonna keep moving.
We're gonna keep moving, explain later. We'll get to it.
And
Like,
it's like, fun fact, if I was Percy, I would fucking run away too, because people not explaining to me things to me makes me mad.
yeah. So Grover and Percy go back to the house to go get Sally, and Grover's like, Sally, we gotta go now. And they have a little tussle with Gabe, and Grover like
It's
hits him with
fun.
his crutches. It's a fun little moment. Gabe gets what's coming to him, you know. But they get in the car, and then the car they're driving Sally, Grover, and Percy, and Sally kind of tells as much as she can about
Oh
Percy's
my God,
dad.
my favorite part, and this is why like Christopher Columbus as a director is hilarious because like she's like it's the scene starts out on the bridge and she's like, "So Percy, let me tell you about your father." And then it cuts to black and it cuts to nighttime and she's like, "We met on this beach." And I'm like, "What were you talking about the whole drive out to the beach? What were you saying?"
They gotta make the time go faster. That's what they're trying to
I
do.
know, but it's like, why? That's such a weird cut.
It is a very weird cut. They're going by all these cows, and then we see they go past a bunch of cows. I like this. The CGI is not
Yeah.
wonderful, but I do like the idea of they drive past the cow fields and then out of the cows stands up a minotaur that the audience sees, but they don't see in the car yet.
Yeah, I
I
think that's
liked that.
cool. I
It
think
was
that was
cool.
cool.
Bad CGI, but that's on budget, you know.
Well,
Um,
and I didn't like
it wasn't the
I wrote
worst.
down I wrote down when the CGI was bad. I think it works because it's dark and it's night.
Yeah, yeah.
Another change that they make because the Minotaur crashes the car, destroys stuff. They're running to Camp Half-Blood trying to get to safety, and Percy's mom can't get through the barrier.
Did
And
you
I
see the
think
line? Sorry, the line where Grover's like, "Is it just me or is it raining cows?" I thought that
that
was funny. I
I
wrote
did
it
see
down.
that line. I'm glad you like that line.
Yes, I enjoyed it. Anyways,
I,
sorry.
I I thought it was a fun I thought it was a good choice to add in that physical stop instead of
Yes,
just having to be like, no, I can't go, no, I can't go, no, I can't go, because then it again
it adds
tells
to
the
the
audience
drama.
and it also tells the audience what's going on. So Percy
Hmm.
goes in, he kills the Minotaur because he doesn't get to kill Miss Dodds
Yeah,
in the fight, which is whatever.
yeah. I liked the Minotaur fight as well. I thought it was
Yeah.
good. Um,
I wrote honestly, Minotaur is good.
yep.
This is like I had to keep pausing the movie to write down notes, which is why it took me 3 hours to get through.
Hmm.
And even then, I can barely read my handwriting because I was writing so fast. I had
I
a
mean,
lot of feeling.
I just write as I watch. That's what I
I
do
can't.
every time.
No, I had too many thoughts, and then
Okay,
other
that's
things would
fair.
happen, and then I had to keep writing because it was like, ugh.
This is essentially so everything that's happened to this point to Percy fainting outside of Camp Half-Blood. I'm fine with everything that happens. Is it the best? No. But like I have no like capital P problems with
Hmm.
everything that's happened to this point. As we get into this next little section, because that's almost the first act, right?
Yeah,
About
I would
about
call the first. I think the end of the first act happens after capture the flag.
okay,
Um,
that's fair. In my brain, I was saying that's
we
the
go
first act in
to
my brain, and
yeah,
then once they leave Camp Half-Blood, that's just like in my brain is how I was splitting up, you know. But yes,
yeah,
we get to meet Camp Half-Blood. Percy wakes up in an infirmary, like straight from like a battlefield kind of infirmary. I It's not how I pictured Camp Half-Blood in my brain. It's not how most people in the fan world has like pictured Camp Half-Blood. I enjoy the movie's version of Camp Half-Blood, like
hmm
set wise. It is what Ren Fair people think Ren Fairs are. But when you go to
yeah,
Ren Fair, it's a lot more sweaty, neckbeardy dudes. It's
yeah,
still fun. Don't get me wrong. I
yeah.
love a Ren Fair.
I think it's
Mhm.
fine. I wrote down I didn't picture this many kids, but it's not it's not
I
that many
pictured a
kids.
lot of kids.
I really didn't because I didn't know I couldn't get I could never get a good sense of how many half-bloods there really were at. And they make a remark about there being less than 20 during the winter solstice. And
Yeah.
I know I would expect more than that, but there's like 100 plus kids there.
You know, one thing about Greek gods, they be fucking.
Well, the whole point is that they're stopping to fuck though, because they don't take care of their children. They're deadbeat dads, and people are starting to collect child support now. Also, really fast, they made the interesting choice to have Grover be the one to tell Percy everything.
Huh? I did not
And
like that.
yeah, no, they didn't. And we'll get to why. But also, I did love the line that Grover says where, Percy looks down at him and he's like, oh my God, you're a goat man. And then Grover's like, the politically correct term is satyr.
Yeah, that was
That was
good.
funny. Yeah,
Yeah,
hi,
so
hi.
Grover is info dumping for instead of what used to be Mr. D slash also Chiron. I don't miss Mr. D in this movie. It does not make
No.
sense if you're making a series, but like him not being there, totally fine.
Honest to God, did not notice until afterwards.
Hmm. And I believe he's in the second movie.
Oh, he is.
I haven't seen the second movie since
I saw it. So
2014.
ironically, I don't know why I didn't see this one in theaters.
You saw the
I
second one?
did see the second one in theaters.
Weird. Maybe your family just needed an activity to do. Also, we
No,
went to the movies all the time.
I think we were more into them. I think
The
like by the
books by
time
then.
this movie was coming out, I was the only one that I was either
Mm,
in the process of reading them or I had just finished it and I was trying to get everybody else into it.
yeah.
And then I heard about the movie and how it was, and I was like, mm-mm, we're not
Hmm.
seeing that. So we rented it one time and then that was enough.
Yeah. Anyways,
The way they introduced Annabeth. Let's
wait,
talk about that, please.
oh, you mean hot girl badass scene?
Hot girl badass. And it's like, okay, why is her hair loose? Literally, she's like asking for it to get pulled in battle.
Hmm.
I'm like, it's
Well, how else were they gonna know she's a
so,
girl if she's wearing a helmet and covering her pretty
so,
face?
it's
That's
so
sarcasm, reader,
dumb.
listeners.
I like, look, I'm sure Alexandria Daddario, whatever the fuck her name is
Hmm.
very nice. And I
Hmm.
mean this with the utmost respect. I hate her in this movie so much.
I
I
think,
hate her in this movie. And
I
it's not
think,
her fault. She's
no, it's
badly
not.
written.
Yes,
But
I
I
think
also think she
Annabeth,
can't act.
she acts the same. This is how she is not the best actress. I just recently watched the Amazon Prime show. She's in Why Women Kill or something like that.
Yeah.
She's in that and she's acting the exact same as she acts here. Also, fun fact, she is 22 when they filmed this.
Wow.
So, fun fact. But yeah, I agree. I don't love this choice of Annabeth. I think she is the weak point writing wise. I also don't love, I get agree. I don't think she's like the worst actor I've ever seen by
Yeah.
no means. She's just not great. And Annabeth, it's
She's
like
she
it's
the
like they were
problem
trying to make a Hermione without making a Hermione without reading the book. You know what I
I
mean?
just and it's like Hermione from the movies is closer to Annabeth than this character.
Yes.
It does,
Yes.
and then it's like this just doesn't make any sense. You don't give her anything to do. You don't let her. We'll get there, but like
Hmm.
I wrote at this point, I'm trying not to get hung up on on the dumb details, but it's really hard because a lot of these dumb details, like even the like I haven't seen you in years that you like was like that's a
Hmm.
small thing. All
Hmm.
these little things build up into like a
Hmm.
larger problem with how this movie views the gods, you know?
Hmm. Yeah.
Anyway,
But yeah,
also a fun fact, how did they make the depiction of Aphrodite's kids worse in the movie than it was in the books?
hmm. Hmm.
Because literally they're introduced by calling Grover over and
Yep.
like
And this is
all
where
of a sudden the
Grover
hot
starts
tub.
to go down. Once they get to Camp Half Blood, Grover starts to, the every again, it's not the actor's fault. He does a great job acting the whole movie. It's the writing. Every other time Grover is talking to people that are not, I keep wanting to say Logan, that are not Percy or Annabeth, he is making some, or Chiron, he is making some sort of like almost innuendo. And it's very obvious. And I know from stuff we'll talk about later that the writers made it super innuendo heavy and super like teen sexy heavy and then brought it back down. They didn't bring it back down enough for Grover. They left some of those there. And like satyrs, yes, they like in Greek gods in general, it's salacious, right? But
It's
that's
also
not how the book was. And like satyr, you can like there's that medium they missed. You could have made Grover not obviously a teen, but still and weird and satyry, right? You could have done that better. They just missed it totally.
well, and I just thought it like, and granted, maybe I'm reading too much into it and I'm like reflecting off of an article I read when I was
Probably.
16 and like internalized it too heavily. But I think it's like a weird choice that the major black character in the movie spends a lot of his time horning after other people. That
Yep.
was a choice, and it's
Mm-hmm.
not a good one. And did
Nope.
no one like think about it for like 10 seconds? Did
None of
no
the
one like
producers.
say, hey, that's a little weird. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
we shouldn't do that?
Mm-hmm.
And then it gets into the later problem with Grover, which is even when he's not like being whatever that is
Mm-hmm.
towards women, he's
Mm-hmm.
like he just starts making jokes and being funny and being the
He's just
comic
the
relief.
he's just being the pure comic relief, which is not like Grover is funny in the books, but so is Annabeth, but so is Percy, but so are the other characters. In the
And like
movie, it's only him.
the jokes that they have him make, especially like toward the end, just don't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, why is the satyr
Mm-hmm.
joking about that? That
Yep.
doesn't add up.
Yep. Um, Then we meet
Oh, I also wrote.
Chiron. Oh,
Sorry. Go ahead and talk about Chiron.
we finally meet Chiron. We find out that Mr. Bruner was actually a centaur this whole time. And Percy goes, wow, Chiron. And then Chiron interrupts, he goes, or Percy goes, you have, and Chiron interrupts him saying, a real horse's ass. Also, Chiron is Pierce Bronson, which I
Yeah.
think is great casting. The
Yeah.
CGI on the centaur's butt, not great. It's not as bad as the Harry Potter centaurs
Yeah.
CGI, but like it kind of gets blurry occasionally. Like it's just like not rendered well. But
Yeah. I
again,
mean, like,
that's not the yeah.
I really there's only one, like, two super things of CGI where I was like, oh, this really looks bad to me.
Mhm. Here's I
And
think
it's
one
just
of
because
my
I'm not
biggest
looking at it.
Yeah, here's one of my biggest issues I have, because I definitely don't have as many big capital B issues than I think you do with this movie. Here's what I really don't like lore-wise. They immediately put Percy into the Poseidon's cabin. There's no
Uh-huh.
mystery of who his dad is. We can know, the audience can know that it is Poseidon. I'm fine with all that bullshit of on the him talking to Percy's ear and us knowing it's Poseidon. I'm fine with that if we still have a mystery, and they could have done it easier. They just built a really cool set and they wanted to show it off. That's all the only reason why. Like,
Hmm.
like Chiron's like, Percy, your dad built this for you. And he's like, trident, emblem of a trident. My dad's Poseidon? Like, it's that is one of the things I have. I am very, very lenient with most of the choices they make in this movie because I like camp and bad camp, and this is literally bad. But I enjoy it for that, some of it. But this I just like, you could have easily been like, we don't know, go to the Hermes cabin. Oh, at the river scene, and have a little CGI thing above his head. Bing bang bong.
Yeah, I actually like, so I kind of have mixed feelings about it because I've already mentioned I kind of hate that everyone knows that Percy is Poseidon's kid because it's such a big deal that he exists. And
Mm-hmm.
they cut out why it's such a big deal that he exists.
Uh-huh.
But I kind of, from a storytelling point of view, I actually do think this choice makes sense, especially for Chiron to already know. I didn't pick up on the your dad built this cabin for you because I was too busy writing a note, which is why I
Yeah.
paused, but I take notes.
Yeah. That's fair.
But it's also so funny because I think we talked about this like last week, but I did not realize how much of this first part of the book is exposition because
It's so much.
when Percy tells it, it's fun, it's entertaining, and yes, it's a lot of information, but it's
Mhm.
like entertaining. And then this one, literally the first like 45 minutes of this movie are just details, 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 world building, world building, world building. And I'm like, you're not even doing it right.
hmm Yeah, when I was editing the book podcast, we had 2 hours of the recording. The first hour, we barely got to capture the flag
Yeah, because we were too busy talking about the world building and like the
because it's
exposition.
good.
So Chiron's like, hey, Zeus thinks you stole the lightning. I know you did it. I'm going to bring you to Olympus in a couple days. I just need to train you first and get permission. And then we have to wait because you're in danger. And now we're going to do capture the flag, even though you haven't had any training.
No, the capture the flag is the training.
Okay.
That's what he said. We have to go train. It's time for capture the flag.
But it's all
No,
okay.
I'm saying this is my face saying it doesn't make sense, but this is what the movie is presenting, so therefore it's truth.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
Uh-huh. Yeah, no, I agree. Like that's not how you
Oh my
train.
God,
We
Luke's
could have had a
introduction.
we could have had a cool training sequence, but also again, time. The book should be a TV show, like it shall be soon. Hopefully it is good.
Hmm.
But like they really tried so hard to put a huge amount of stuff into one. So like it wasn't a good choice. They made all the wrong choices along the way, but they were
And
trying.
I mean, like, yeah, the first 45 minutes is a lot of exposition. But
Hmm
like when we talk about how I would fix this movie, I'm not spoilers a little bit. I'm not changing much of the first half.
Yeah.
I think it's perfectly adequate.
The first half, I agree. Yes. Yes. And also Luke's introduction is awful and there's no
Oh,
scar. Where's
no,
the scar?
it was so good. Are you kidding?
You're,
Luke is
you're,
like,
is this her sarcasm?
no, I'm serious.
You like Luke here?
I like Luke for the first three scenes he's in.
Okay.
Because I think it's like a very good way to introduce this character who you don't have time to build a relationship with because
Mm-hmm.
they cut out the Hermes captain
Mm-hmm.
cabin. Yeah, they cut out a scar, but honestly didn't notice at first because like sometimes details don't sometimes you
Like
can kind
how
of
Annabeth doesn't have gray eyes because they didn't want to buy
yeah, like
context. Yeah, it's fine.
yeah, like she
Yeah.
doesn't have gray eyes, she doesn't have blonde hair. Who gives a shit? Like, come
Yeah.
on. The actress sucks. That's the big problem. No offense, ma'am. Um, I'm sure you're gonna listen to this and be really offended by my opinion.
Lols.
Anyway, but no, I love Luke's introduction because it's a great way to kind of get him established as cool older guy who immediately takes Percy under his wing, has a sense of humor, and is like, "Hey, let me help you out here." And it builds that relationship really quickly in the time that they have.
I agree with that. I was just upset that we don't because they're older and because we're missing a chunk of backstory from the book that they decided not to put in.
Ugh.
I am missing the Annabeth wanting Luke's approval and romantic attention.
She's making goo goo eyes at him the whole time. But granted, that just might be her face.
That's her face in this movie. I did not pick up on that on this rewatch. Okay, Capture the Flag was
Oh, and then I
so
wrote,
war, and I was like, this is what Capture the Flag felt like when you were in fifth grade, and really you're just all throwing soft foam balls at each other.
oh
It was
my
full
God.
on war, and I enjoyed that part,
I
the war
hated
part.
Annabeth. I hated Annabeth so much in this part. She's
Well,
just hot and she's there. And Athena and Ares are on the same side, even though like thematically they're always on opposite sides. And it's just like, oh my God. And then it's like the sons of Ares. They cut out Clarice. Of all the characters that they cut out, actually that's a lie. But I'm very upset that they cut out Clarice. I love Clarice.
she's in the
She's a
second one.
bitch and I love her.
I like Clarice too in the books, but I think it's fine that we don't have her here, except for when you think about them trying to do a franchise. Then it's like, well, you messed up on more than one occasion, but also in this
Oh,
way. But I'm fine with Clarice not being there. And honestly, I forgot that the whole Ares and Athena thing because I'm not a big old Greek myth nerd. I enjoy Greek mythology, but I'm
that's not
like,
even like a Greek myth thing. That's just me being upset from the books.
I know. But also I was like, I don't know. I didn't think about that hard. I think it was weird that they had Annabeth be on the opposite team, but I guess it makes sense if there is no Clarice. I guess they're gonna put her there if
And
you have
they
to.
wanted to do enemies to whatever the hell they end up as. And
Lovers.
it's like, well, they're not lovers, they don't kiss.
Oh,
Oh no, but that's what they're going for. So that's why they
yeah.
like set him up as an antagonist relationship. And then when he beats her, she's like into it. And I'm like, oh my God, shut the fuck up. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you.
I
I hate it so much.
I did not mind them battling because even though it's not true to Annabeth in the books, I do like that Annabeth is a like physical rival um to Percy. Like, yes, Percy suddenly in this Capture the Flag has done all of the training he ever needs to do, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is that's silly, but I do like that he struggles to fight Annabeth. I do like that. Also, that's not how Capture the Flag works. You have to capture the flag and then bring it back to your side of the area. He just grabbed the flag in one quote, like question mark.
Yeah.
Like that's not how Capture the Flag works, but whatever. Um, anyways, we get back to
I can't
camp.
believe of all the things that you're gonna harp on is the fact that capture the flag isn't right.
I was a PE teacher for a year. I am very serious about Capture the Flag.
I love that for you.
Thank you.
Then they have this campfire scene, and I wrote, I hate Annabeth again because they give her like this thing where he's like,
Oh yeah,
why do you hate me?
I have strong feelings about you. I don't know if they're good or bad. I'll let you
And
know.
I wrote, fuck this. Because it was, that's, first of all, nobody has ever in the history of humankind talked like this, right?
I'm sorry to tell you this, but people do talk like this.
I hate that. That's so gross. Why are y'all like this?
Don't look at me. I'm talking about like quote unquote players out in the clubs.
Okay, but is Annabeth a player? Is that like her thing?
No,
Yeah, that's so
it's
dumb.
just shit writing.
Okay, and then they're in the campfire, everything's fine. And then we have Satan Hades.
Who pops out of the fire and is calling for Percy. Because apparently Hades is like, bring me the lightning bolt or else you'll never see your mom again.
And nobody in this entire movie is actually thinking about who actually saw the lightning bolt, since Chiron obviously knows it's not Percy, and
Hmm.
everybody knows, like, they don't think it's Hades because Hades is flat out like, bring me the lightning bolt. I
Hmm.
sent the Minotaur after you. And I'm like, this is so dumb. Okay, literally, the next half page of notes are, this is dumb. This is so dumb. Sneaking off crap is dumb. This is dumb. This is literally the worst.
But yeah, this is where the biggest plot point begins, that my other capital B issue is like, so far, just for a recap, I did not like that we found out Percy was Poseidon's kid so fast and that bluntly. That stum. This introduced the next part. So Percy, of course, wants to sneak out because he wants to save his mom, and he's a
Mm-hmm.
little mama's boy. And so Grover's like, man, you can't do that. Don't do that. And then Annabeth's like, man, you can't do that. Don't do that. Oh, just kidding. We're going to both go with you because we both have other reasons that we're going to say right now. And Grover's like, I want to prove myself. And Annabeth says, I want to see the world. I've been here my whole life. And that is their only reasons and the only depth of the reasons, which is bad because they should give more depth to the people's reasons. If they're going to go with a sneak away option, give more
And
heavy reasons.
at least Grover, because I vaguely remember
He
him
says it
saying
earlier. Yeah.
something that he's like a protector and his horns haven't come in, which
Yeah.
is like, okay. You
Yeah.
just didn't want to do the CGI for the horns the whole time. Um,
Those are for sure hair pieces,
oh
like hair
duh.
clips.
That's so much smarter than what I was thinking. But yeah, no, the whole thing with Annabeth is like, okay, literally 2 seconds ago you were fighting him to the death, and now you're like, this is not going to be my only chance. And she's like, I've never been on a quest. And I'm like, you still haven't. He's sneaking out of camp. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we get to the next Luke scene.
Which I
And
like
I
this one.
loved this scene. This
This
scene
scene
is
is good.
so good.
It's different
His
from the books and it's
introduction.
good. Good.
Oh, his
Good.
opening line, "Welcome to the modern world." Like, and setting it up with him just like playing video games, like a war video game where he's shooting things. That's, I don't understand how the same people who created this scene wrote the rest of the movie.
Yeah. They're men. But yeah, I do like
And
that Luke's really techie, and it shows an active disdain against the old ways, which is very in
mm-hmm,
part of Luke's character.
mm-hmm.
Yes.
And it's like, I just feel like it misses the point that Luke is right to a certain extent. The gods are selfish. Their neglect of the kids is what causes this problem.
Mm-hmm.
And so his whole, I've never met my dad. And it's like, okay, you literally have. And that's kind of the reason why you hate him, is you met him and he knows something about what happens to you. And you're like, hey, tell me. And he's like, no, I can't. And you're like, that's dumb. This is dumb. You should tell me. And that's like a whole driving force of their relationship, because Luke grew up with his mom who knows what happens to him, and he watched his mom be crazy half of his life, and then found out his dad was there and was like, wait a minute, why didn't you help her? Why didn't you do
Do
anything?
we find that part out in the first book?
We don't, but you know
Okay,
what?
then
It's
it's not going to be in the
important.
first movie.
No, but like, okay, so like Harry Potter, for example, like Harry Potter, for example, I have a point, I
Okay,
promise.
I'm excited.
Alan Rickman was
Yes.
told by the turf herself that this is Snape's motivation. This is why he does the things that he does. And he
Mm-hmm.
took that into account into his performance the
Mm-hmm.
entire way through.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't know if Luke's actor does, but he like, I feel like a lot of these actors do know their characters, but the people who wrote this movie could have infused that in better, and they don't, because they write in this bullshit. The gods don't see their kids because Zeus said they can't, and I'm like, that's fucking dumb. They're deadbeats.
It
They're
is very
deadbeats.
dumb. But also to that point, Rick Riordan was not allowed to have interactions with the actors about further things in the books. So just with that analogy, just to play devil's advocate, um, yeah, because he's, because we'll talk about the whole interaction with Rick Riordan and this film in general at the
I
end.
hope you have the emails. I also hate, I do, the one thing that I don't like about this is that they cut out all the manipulation that Luke is doing. He's just like, yeah,
Yes.
here's the map to here's a map to these Persephone's pearls.
Yes. Okay, the Persephone pearls is the biggest issue here.
Oh
Okay.
my God, it's so dumb.
So
It's
the
like, so
movie.
Persephone. No, let me go
Well,
off,
let me see
please.
what the movie's like setting
Okay,
up before you
explain
go
it,
off.
please.
Okay, so Luke gives them a map that takes people to where Persephone hides pearls around the world so that she can have, quote, visitors come to the underworld. Persephone's pearls are not based like this, like map is, correct me if I'm wrong, is not based off an actual myth. They just
No,
made this fucking thing up, right? In the book, they have the
no.
actual pearls from Poseidon, and that can bring them up from the book. And the
Hmm.
movie took that from the book and then changed it extra.
Yeah, and it's the dumbest shit because, like, I'm so sorry. What world does this make sense? Persephone, it has lovers who need to, so they still need to go into the underworld, which is dangerous and hard to do. And then
Mm-hmm.
they're going to go sleep with her and use a pearl to get out. And it's like, literally, ma'am, can you not just wait 6 months? You're only there half the year. Just go sleep with them afterwards. Like, I understand that you hate your husband. You have every right to. He kidnapped you. But like, you can wait 6 months.
A lot of people, Amanda, cannot wait 6 months. Like, just 2 point. I think this is a dumb plot point. I think it just doesn't make any mythological sense. And I think them just wanting to not
Persephone
fly because
has
Zeus will zap them out of the air is a stronger point to go all the way to the west coast than Persephone's pearls. But Persephone, like, I don't understand your hang up on this because a lot of people can't wait.
no, I just think it's so dumb because
It is dumb.
Persephone has no connection with pearls. The pearls don't have
That is also dumb. Yes.
there's nothing in the mist that has any connection to this. It's
Yep.
a dumb plot point that just
Yep.
is creating a reason for them to travel from place to place. And again, when we
Hmm.
get to my rewrite, I have a better reason. Um, and it's
Or this
like,
the air not getting zapped out of the air. That's an easy point to do. It can take 2 sentences of dialogue.
yeah, but then the problem is like, yeah, but then it would have had to them require them to do all the like things about why do they keep getting stopped at these random ass places? Oh, because
Because of
the bus blew
monsters.
up. The bus blew up, like, and then they would have to add more. I don't know. I kind of get that from
I
a
think they
reading
could
out.
just do 3 of whatever their choices of places to get stopped by monsters because monsters are coming out after them. Like, I feel like that's fine.
I feel like
Yeah.
I get where you're coming from because yeah, but I feel like it makes a stronger plot if there's like actual reasons for them to go to the place that they're going instead of just like road trip movie because
I mean, it's most of the book is a road trip book.
it is a road trip book. But like
Yeah.
if you didn't want to make it a road trip, I understand why you made the choices that you made.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I understand making like an actual reason for them to go these places.
Yeah.
Um Also, but no, I'm going back to this like whole Persephone Pearl thing because I get that most people can't wait. But just explain to me the logic, please. Like she has these people that need to come down and visit her. So
Hmm.
do they still need the pearl to? How did they get to the underworld in the first place? How did they get past Charon?
I have no
Uh,
idea. I did not think about this. I think the pearls as a plot device, stupid. I think the idea of people coming down to visit Persephone for sex, not stupid.
I think it's stupid mostly because it's like dumb
I mean,
and
it's not mythologically accurate. I agree.
it just leads to the weird characterization of Persephone later, which is like, huh.
The first stop on their pearl adventure is Auntie M's Gnome Emporium, the same first stop that we
Oh
have
my God,
on the road trip.
they immediately split up and they're immediately like, let's wander around this giant garden where
But the
we meet
scene,
a
I like the scene though. I like this. I like the Auntie M's part because it's like, so maybe it's because I don't have a mind's eye and I have a hard time visualizing things in my brain when I'm reading them. But like, it's like, oh yeah, I've been to creepy old like statuey places like this. It makes sense. And also, Uma Thurman as Medusa, inspired. I loved it. And this is the second time Uma Thurman has been a character in a movie we done on the podcast. Shout out to Uma Thurman. She was
wait,
in
what was she?
Red, White, and Royal Blue.
Oh, okay. I think they're acting dumb and it makes me annoyed. And then Grover's like, "Oh my God, Medusa killed my uncle. We're in Medusa's lair." And I'm like,
That
"How
part
do
was
you
lame.
know? How do you know that Medusa killed your uncle? Like, the
Yeah.
whole point is your uncle went missing."
Yeah.
And
That was
also,
a little
like,
dumb. I did like the lady chasing Annabeth or grabbing onto Annabeth. I thought that was like, it jump scares you when she comes around the corner.
mhm.
One. And two, like it adds extra stakes. Like we see this lady get turned into stone. Like the kids immediately are like, oh, this is like like it adds extra danger to it. I liked that. I do agree that them splitting up is dumb, but if they were actually 12, they probably would have split
But
up, but
they're
they're
17.
17, so it doesn't make sense. I
And
get
it's
it.
also like doesn't Grover like smell the monster and he's like, "Oh yeah, no, this is fine." Grover can smell monsters and then they kind of completely cut that out. Um I don't
Before they leave the Auntie M's, Grover says, or maybe it was Percy that says, would have been nice for if Luke would have warned us about Medusa. And it's like movie is not any sort of hiding Luke being the villain. And that's why I have an issue with Luke. The only time he's not the villain, obviously, is the first two scenes. Any other time we see Luke or hear from Luke or talk about Luke, the rest of this movie is like he's the villain.
and it's like it's so annoying that they don't even like call him and be like, "Yo, dude, Medusa was there. What the hell?"
Mm-hmm. Time constraints, I guess.
And it's like literally, oh my God, we're gonna get to this at the end. Let's move on. I don't have very strong, I mean, I do have strong feelings, but I'm kind of like meh about the scene overall. Like I think
Yeah, I think
there are
it's
parts
fun.
of it that are good. I think I only get annoyed about the woman showing up because it means that Annabeth spends the entire fight, like the first half of the fight scene, being trapped,
Yeah,
and then gets to do the one thing in the movie that she does, which is hit Medusa with a car.
yeah,
I think that's the only thing she does in the movie.
yeah. Next they go to Nashville to the Parthenon. This is or towards there at least. This is a new spot they added, and I think why they changed it to the Parthenon instead of St. Louis, and the Arch is probably one they didn't want to show the Arch being blown up because of like people taking media too seriously and then doing domestic crimes. One and
Hmm.
two, possibly there's probably some. Well, they did film. I looked it up. They did film this part in Nashville as much as they could at the Parthenon. Um,
They wanted to introduce the dumb plot point about Annabeth and her mom and it being
mhm.
forbidden from the gods to see their moms.
Yeah.
And like her, like God bless, and I'm so sorry I'm being so mean to this actress, but I just her stupid face when she says, "I wonder if that's what she actually looks like." Ma'am, shut the fuck up. Like,
Yeah.
just shut up.
Um, oh yeah, they have Medusa's head with them
Oh yeah,
the
they
whole
do.
time, which I thought was a fun gag that they just
Yeah.
have this Medusa head around. I thought it was
It is
fun.
kind of funny when they like, oh my God, they almost crashed the car because Grover almost falls asleep. And I'm
Yeah.
like, Jesus Christ, like
Yeah.
y'all.
Yeah. So they stay the
Oh
night.
my
There's
God.
another
And then
pool
the other
scene.
part of that stupid scene that I hate.
Hmm.
Sorry. Go ahead and
Go
talk
for
about the motel.
I was just saying at the hotel, they stop for the night before they get to the Parthenon. And Percy does another like sitting at the bottom of the pool. Him and Annabeth have a heart to heart about their parent issues, which is like
Mhm.
whatever. Um,
Oh, and then he's like, I don't even know. He's like, I don't even know what my mom looks like. And he's like, you'll find out. Shut the fuck up. Just shut up.
they're
Just shut up.
bonding,
No,
Amanda. They're
they're not. This is
bonding.
stupid. There's so many other things to bond over, and they're bonding over the fact that like this is
Hmm.
stupid.
Yeah. Um, I
And then
did.
like this
Oh
is
yeah,
the
we
part
find
where
out
I was like,
Percy's a fugitive too. We
oh
find that out
yeah.
in the hotel too. So now they have
And this is the
extra
point where I noted
drama.
that they this is all fuck, sorry, I interrupted you.
You're fine.
This is where they really everyone first noted that they really just start making Grover the comic relief the whole time.
Yeah.
Because he like lifts up the Medusa head and is like, "Oh my God, how am I supposed to pee with this?" And then the maid sees it and it's like,
Hmm.
"Cool, now we have to run."
Yep. Yeah.
Great.
So they get to the Parthenon. They wait for it to close. There's a bunch of janitors cleaning
Annabeth
after it
knocks
closed.
them out, and I was like, "Dude, what the hell?"
Like a la spy movie, she uses like sleep darts.
She knocks
Um,
a guy like 6 feet from the ground on a ladder.
it's fine. He's a monster.
I mean, yeah, but we didn't know that the first time.
It's fine. She's a badass and she's sexy, right?
Uh,
Sarcasm. Anyways, yeah, and so they're supposed to be out for 30 minutes, these people she sleep darted with, but then they wake up and they like hive mind speak towards Percy, like, I've been waiting for you. And then they morph into a Hydra, and the Hydra battle is silly. Percy Jackson, oh yeah, Percy puts on the flying tennis shoes so he can get to the top of the statue to get the pearl. So like it's kind of in the air for part of it. There's dragon, the Hydra dragon mouths are breathing fire, and Percy's an idiot
Only
and
the
he cuts
middle
off,
one.
huh?
Only the middle one breathes fire.
Only the middle one? In the movie
Hmm.
or in mythology?
In the movie.
Really? There's a lot of fire for only one head.
I know, right?
I didn't
They
even notice
literally
that.
they explicitly said the middle one breathes fire. It's
Probably
like
is
one of the only it's one of the only things that Annabeth does is tell them about the Hydra. And then I
interesting.
wrote, God, she can't act.
Interesting. But yeah, Percy cuts off all the heads like an idiot. Annabeth tries to tell him not to, but he doesn't listen to her, slash can't hear her. There's more heads, but then Grover ends up saving them using Medusa's head to turn the Hydra into stone.
Honestly, like I have a problem with this Hydra scene. And
Hmm.
this is one of those like it just is so annoying. There's so many things that happen in the book, and they
Hmm.
wrote in this completely new Hydra thing that happens in the Sea of Monsters. And
Hmm.
it's like we couldn't have had I get why you didn't want to blow up St. Louis. You couldn't have had
Hmm.
Echidna, you couldn't have had the Chimera, you couldn't have had like the Tunnel of Love. You couldn't have done literally anything other than add in a different monster
Hmm.
that's not even in the book.
Hmm.
Whatever.
Part of it is that they wanted its budget restrictions is what people have claimed. I think it's the whole Annabeth wanting to see her mom statue to put in that little tiny plot point thing, like you said earlier. But like they're like, oh, we are only filming in Vancouver, BC and Nashville because Nashville at that time the taxes for filming were cheap. Da, 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 da. And I was like, sure, bud. Sure.
Okay.
Hmm.
I had another rant about how much I hate the pearls, and then I had to like thought because it finds out that the last pearl's in the Lotus Casino,
Hmm. In
and
Las Vegas.
in Las Vegas, and I was ranting, and I was like, I hate the pearls, unless Luke was lying, and I was like, oh, that's a really good thought. Luke is lying to them about these pearls, and like, yeah, they actually do what they do, but they're in dangerous locations, and he's hoping that they're gonna get killed, and like, that's what I forgot about that. That's
Yeah.
what's gonna happen. No,
Well, they did like hint towards it with Luke should have
but
warned
then,
us. It just they didn't go into it.
but also like that's smart. But then the things that were revealed slightly later
Hmm.
make no sense with if that really was his plan the whole time,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, no, maybe he was secretly hoping that they get killed, but then, like, what was, what's his plan from there?
Yeah. Let's talk about the Lotus Casino scenes because I love the Lotus Casino scenes. I love so they go in, they get offered these lotus flower things, which are actually, I looked it up. The trivia fun facts, these are actually sugar cookies with frosting on them. And
They look really good.
they did look
I'm not
really
gonna
good,
lie.
right? And then they eat them and they get like this weird like high slash kind of drunk like from it. And I remember when I was a young teen watching this, I was like, is this what being drunk feels like that, like them partying is what I imagined going to the club was like. And like I mean like the scenes are not like wonderful, like it's kind of a little bit drags on a bit, but them actually like doing the party bits when they're
Hmm.
partying, I love in a very
I
cheesy way. Like they're like they don't really add much to the plot. They're just, oh yeah, they're stuck and look at they're partying in this way and they're partying and gambling and dancing. And
I was
I
really
enjoyed
mad.
it.
I
I
was
did.
really mad because like Annabeth, Annabeth's supposed to be smart, right? And
Yeah.
literally, like, I mean, they do this in the musical, and I know we're gonna get there, where she's like,
Hmm.
Lotus Casino, oh, that's bad. And in the
Hmm.
book, I forgive her because she's 12 and she's tired and she hasn't had a shower in like 6 days.
Yes.
This version of Annabeth, I'm sitting here and I'm like, girl, please
But she's
pretend
never been in the real world.
she's never been in the real world. She knows the mist inside and out, and she
I
doesn't pick
know.
up on the Lotus Casino being a possibly bad thing. And then
Uh-huh.
Percy's like, "Why are we here?" And then she's like, "I know why we're here, to have fun." I fucking hate her. I hate her so
Because
much.
she's under the influence.
I hate her. I hate her. And she just hangs on Percy's arm the entire scene. She's like right next to him doing absolutely nothing. She's like just sitting there looking pretty while Grover's off having a party and like Percy's doing all this fun shit. And she's literally just a prop on his arm. And I'm like, literally, I hate I hate what this movie does to Annabeth. It upsets me so much. Like, she literally is just there to look pretty, have no personality, and like be there for Percy to flirt with. And it's bad flirting. It's not even like good flirting. It's like what you said earlier. It's player flirting. There's no like genuine relationship. It's literally, let's just say the sentences that sound cool and awesome, and like then we get to shove them into a relationship and it's gonna look good. And then they don't even kiss at the end. So it's like, well, what was the fucking point of that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with all that, except for I like the lotus scenes and the partying scenes. But yeah, I think those are all very,
I
very,
don't
very
have
valid.
that much of my bigger issue with it is kind of a nitpick. Like, I get the vibe of it and I get
Yeah.
what it's going
It's
for.
also very nostalgically I like this scene because
Yeah.
of like me and my friends like strong feelings towards this scene growing up.
I think
Um,
it like you said a little bit earlier, I think it goes on a little bit too long.
yeah,
And I was too busy fixating on what Annabeth was doing to pay attention to anything else.
yeah,
And then also like high key, I love the reveal how he just when it goes over to the arcade and Percy
yes.
Poseidon's like, wake up, wake up, wake up. It's a little weaker that he doesn't do on his own, but I understand you need an external force to like
Hmm.
show
And he
internal
talks to
thought.
that guy in the fringe vest and long hair. It's like it's
Then
1971.
and then like in reflex, I kind of am slightly annoyed because I'm like, wait a second, it would have been really easy to have all these people in old-timey clothes in the poker face scene too. Like you could
Yeah,
have slipped a couple people in there and then that'd be a fun little hint for the audience
it
that
would.
something's going
It's
on.
true.
And then you didn't because you don't care.
Yeah, that's the most of this movie. Um, then they get to LA after they
Also,
steal
like
a
they do this dumbass thing where in the pool scene, like from forever ago, when they're talking about their parents, and Annabeth is like, "Our parents aren't allowed to talk to us." She's like, "Sometimes my mom talks to me. Maybe your dad's talking to you too." And like, this is dumb. This is so dumb. This voiceover shit is so dumb. Like, how do the gods have fucking time to talk to their kids when they're in danger? Like, this is almost worse. That I just, it's so dumb, and it makes me mad. And this
I
movie
always
just feels
imagined the
so focus grouped. It feels like they were like, oh, let's make sure that this is popular with the teens and be cool. And it's like, fuck off.
I always imagined not in like this movie, but like in Percy Jackson in general, the Greek gods all had like tablets, and on the tablets had like a little screen following each of their kids, and they're like "What do, 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 do," like how we do on TikTok, but with their kids. That's what I always imagined. Just a little side thought.
I love that for you.
Thank
I
you.
know I'm like not this is not gonna be fun for you to edit because I'm like losing my mind and I'm sorry, but also yeah.
Amanda, it's not much different than most other episodes with you. I'm sorry to tell you.
Well, you keep inviting me, so that's on you at this point.
Yeah. Um, so they steal a car, a Maserati, which has a I had to ask guys what kind of car it was. It was a Maserati which had a Trident logo on it. Fun fact. And then they drive, they get to LA, they change the underworld entrance to be the Hollywood sign. I didn't mind that. I thought that was good. We switched all the
That's
LA business, which is fine.
that's
Um,
not a big deal.
not a big deal. We have not talked about
Oh my
this.
God, and
We
then they
have
have
not
this dumb
before
scene.
before
Sorry,
we
go
get
ahead.
to all this underworld stuff,
We're not it's not the underworld yet, but go ahead.
what do you mean?
No, no, I have a thing that I hate before the underworld.
Yeah, I was
This
saying
is Go ahead.
we have not talked about that they cut out everything with Ares specifically. We have not talked about
Oh.
that. It's a move, especially since I think Ares is in the next movie. Again, they
I don't
retconned a
think
lot of
he is,
stuff. Is
but
he?
he's like no, he's not in the next movie, but Clarice is in the next movie.
Yes.
So it's kind of like the
But
bigger
yeah,
issue is they cut out Kronos.
yes. Yes, they did.
I think like of the god, I think it was a bad move to cut Ares,
Hmm.
but in comparison, they couldn't have kept Ares given
Yeah,
what they cut.
I agree. Yeah, so we have cut out that whole scene. I'm gonna look really fast. Percy Jackson Sea of Monsters.
No, Hermes is in that movie.
Oh, I was like, don't they meet one of the gods? Oh yeah, and Stanley
Hermes is,
Tucci is Dionysus. Oh my God.
and then like Nathan Fillion is Hermes, and it's literally the
Oh
most perfect
yes,
casting
I
in the
forgot.
entire world. sorry, Lin-Manuel Miranda, I love you, but like you're not going to be able to top Nathan Fillion as Hermes.
I forgot he's Hermes.
Hmm.
Anyways,
Well, he's not Hermes in this movie. They have
no,
this
no, no,
random
I
ass
know.
guy,
I know.
which is kind of funny.
Yeah. Um, yeah, so then we get to the underworld where they have to
Mm.
cross the River Styx, right?
And they get to the river Styx, and then this is the scene that I was like, why does Grover suck now? Because literally he like goes up to
Oh
the
yeah.
riverboat man that he knows is like a Greek god. And it's not even like the version from the book, which is wearing these fancy Italian jokes and like being like, where's the money? Cop up the cash. It
Mm-hmm.
is this old-fashioned Grim Reaper type guy. And he's like, I got the Benjamins, I got the Jacksons, I got the Parisons. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, Grover? You are literally a nature spirit, and you're sitting here talking about money and dollars and recessions. And it's like, you have drachmas. You got drachmas. Well, that's not how you say that word. I don't care. And you got drachmas from Medusa, and you're sitting here trying to pay this fucking man in American money, and you're offended when he doesn't take it. Like, it's like they forgot Grover was like a mystical creature and they were just like, hey, funny guy. And I'm like, I hate you. I hate you so much. And then we get into hell. And it's a lake of fucking fire. And I'm just sitting here and I'm like, fun fact, this is my least favorite trope in the existence of the world. I hate when Western media equivocates hell with the underworld. Hell is not the underworld. The underworld is a whole thing with three separate levels of punishment. The whole point of the underworld in both Greek mythology and in the books is that it's sad, it's boring, and there's nothing to do. It is hordes of people who are just standing around in fields with no memories of their life, being sad and depressed and lonely. And you erase that all so that you get to be in hell with fire and lakes and rivers. And it's just, ah!
My thoughts were like, wow, that was boring. Anyways, those are my thoughts on the
This
movies
is
of
where
hell.
this is where I started stabbing my notebook. I was really mad.
Yeah, I mean, I
This,
understand everything you're
this,
saying, and I know like that's like, yeah, this is a very like Western Judeo-Christian version of hell that they're putting onto a Greek underworld society
um,
thing. System, more
actually,
word, better word.
I started stabbing my notebook at Hades because I
Yeah,
just, oh.
yeah.
Also,
So
Persephone is here, and I'm like, ma'am, it's about to be the summer solstice. Why are you here? Why are
yes,
you here?
yeah. Well, but also that actress who plays Persephone, we love. I love her. She's Ahsoka. Uh, in the Ahsoka TV show.
Isn't it? It's like Rosario Dawson, isn't it?
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
love her.
I love
She's
her, and
cute.
she does a great job acting here. It's just the writing and the whole character
Oh
should
my
not
God.
exist in that way at all. But like, she's like,
They
here's the assignment.
literally
I'm gonna do it. You know,
she's so good in this movie, but it's also like the
it's
way that they write
is
Persephone
wrong.
is so weird. They
Hmm.
fall into that men writing woman trap of there's
Hmm.
exactly four types of women.
Hmm.
There's a whore,
Hmm.
there's a mother, there's a girlfriend, and then there's a daughter. There's no daughter in this movie,
Hmm.
but you got you got the
Sally Jackson is the mom.
Sally Jackson being the mom,
Hmm.
generically perfect, no personality, no sass, no
Hmm.
bite to her,
Hmm.
just long suffering. You got the love interest Annabeth who exists only for Percy and to
Hmm.
amplify him and to look
Hmm.
good on his arm. And then you have the whore, Persephone, who just is sleeping around all the time and is
Hmm.
sassy.
Yep. Yep. This script was written by a man,
I
and it
don't think has ever
shows.
talked to a woman in his life.
Probably not. But yeah, it's the
Oh,
underworld
but
in
she does have a
general.
great line. She does have a
Mhm.
great line where she's like flirting with Grover, and it's
Yep.
weird because I don't. I'm sure you're gonna tell me how old he's supposed to be, but I'm like, he's in high school. He's a.
Well,
I know the actor's like 25.
yeah, so we don't know how old Grover is. We just know that the demigods, Annabeth and Percy, are supposed to be 17 in the movie. Grover is a satyr, and in the books, we have the context knowing that like he is over 18, but like still young for a satyr.
Well, like he's
And it
still
kind
the
of gives that
equivalent of a
vibe. And
sixth
also the
grader.
actor is old.
Yeah.
So
But
like
I'm still weirded out because
it's
I was
weird.
like,
No, it's weird, but also because he's a satyr, it's different. You know what I mean? But it is
okay.
weird. No,
I
like
just thought it was
that's
weird
what no, what for sure is weird. That's like what they were like.
going for,
Yeah,
but it's also like, fun fact, you didn't need to do that.
agreed.
Also, it was also a really interesting choice, and I'm not sure how to put this, but like Grover's like fawning over women constantly and how they throwing himself at him.
Mm-hmm.
But like he has this one that's like throwing herself at him, and he's
Mm-hmm.
like, ew. And I'm like, huh, that's weird. That was a choice.
Mm-hmm.
That was a choice.
I think he's more intimidated than you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Um,
I couldn't read that
because
emotion.
she's a god, you know? I think that was more of like, I'm supposed to be fearful of you because you're a god and you're hitting on me. What? This is like, you know what I mean? More of like
Yeah.
that kind of intimidation.
Okay.
The whole Hades thing and the lightning thing, Percy's like just trying his best to be like, I'm telling the truth. And Hades like,
It's not even
you're
that.
wrong.
Hades is like, so they portray Hades as this like punk rocker like guy who wants to overthrow Zeus and Poseidon, and he's like trying to make Percy bargain for the lightning, and like Percy's like, I don't have it, and he's like, don't
Mm-hmm.
play with me, and then like, but they have this back and forth and this back and forth, and he brings back his mom, and the entire time Hades is like, I'm gonna overthrow my brothers, I'm so sick of them, and
Mm-hmm.
this, I'm gonna take down Olympus, and I'm like,
This
bitch.
is
What
not how
version of Hades are you looking
this
at?
is no one's version of Hades. It should not exist.
I feel like Hades should have been Ares. And I mean,
Yes.
like, this was like my pet peeve with like the Disney version of Hercules forever is like their depiction of Hades. But I got over that. You know why? Because Hercules is a good movie.
It is a good movie. You're right. Yeah.
Literally, these are my notes. I just could not stop writing in like huge letters because Hades is still fucking expositing with an hour and 30 minutes into a movie. And he's going on about how his brothers like have thrown him down here and they rule
Mm-hmm.
Olympus and he's stuck here. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, Hades would not do any of this shit. Please,
Mm-hmm.
like, this doesn't make any sense. And having, oh my God, and then the bolt,
The
so
bolt being in the shield that Luke gave them. So immediately
yeah.
when they find the lightning bolt,
Oh,
Annabeth goes, "Oh, Luke set us up immediately." It's like, wow, Annabeth, great for that realization, but also
so
this was given up so quickly.
yeah, there was like there's no betrayal, there's no drama from it. It's
Mm-hmm.
like we do it's kind of clear from the get-go. It's clear pretty much from the second from the second Medusa shows up, and then especially when they go to like the Hydra and they're like, "Hey Luke, how do you get the shoes to work?" And I'm like, "You didn't ask him how the shoes work when you're here?" What?
Mm-hmm.
Also, let's talk a little bit, a second. Let's talk like a hot second about Luke's plan here. Let's just talk for a hot second here.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, so okay, you know how earlier I posited the theory of like, oh, this was Luke's plan all along. Lure them to these dangerous places with these really dangerous monsters with these Persephone's pearls. So they get themselves killed or they get themselves trapped in the Lotus Casino so that all this time passes and the war gets to start
Mm-hmm.
without any kind of interference from anybody. Cool, great, good job. Um, but then it's like, so they had the Master Bolt the entire time in this shield.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't just like show up like it does in the books when they
Mm-hmm.
get to the underworld. They've had it the entire time. And I'm like, this is the thing that's described as having the power of a hydrogen bomb. And nobody that none of the three sensed it. Like all the monsters keep being like, oh, Percy, you have the bolt. Percy, you have the bolt. Percy, you have the bolt. And you like think that they just have heard the rumor and then it's like, oh no, actually that's almost a bit of clever writing because he actually does have the bolt and they can sense it. But none of the fucking heroes can sense it because God forbid they do anything smart and investigative for like 10 seconds. And then like, so what was Luke's plan here? What was Luke's plan? Because in the book, it's not straightforward. It's a very like kind of convoluted plan with a lot of moving parts of like get Percy to the underworld. Hades kills him. Like Poseidon's mad at Hades. Now Poseidon's mad at Hades for killing Percy. Zeus is mad at Hades because he has the Master Bolt. Hades is mad because he doesn't know who has his like bolt invisibility. Blah blah blah. War between the big three. Whatever. Great. Awesome. We love it. This plan is literally, hey. you're going to carry around this super mystical weapon while you are being actively suspected of being the one who stole it. And you're going to take it to some dangerous monsters that could very easily kill you and who know you have the bolt. Was he going to get it back from Medusa? Was that the plan? Was that his plan along, or was he going to let Medusa have the master bolt? Because then I have a feeling that she'd get killed pretty fucking quickly, and then Zeus has his master bolt anyway. And then, like, what is the plan? What is the plan? Is he just going to get the bolt from these monsters, or is he just gonna let it go? He has this powerful ass weapon, and like the whole point is causing a war between the gods, and he doesn't even do that shit because he lets the bolt go with Perseus. And if Percy had taken 10 seconds to investigate the goddamn shield, he would have found the fucking master bolt, and then Luke's plan is in the garbage anyway. So none of this shit makes any sense.
So here's my response to all of that. I agree to all of that. The issue here is that you're thinking more about this issue than the writers, and that is the issue with the whole movie. And I don't know what to say to that. You know
what? Me thinking more than the people who made the thing? Unheard of.
Yeah. So.
And then I wrote this next note, which is they wrote all of these male characters so well, except for fucking Hades.
Yep.
And Luke in the next 10 minutes.
Yep.
Because they like, again, they missed the point of Hades, where yeah, you could have Hades be this.
They were like, trying to combine him and Ares' personalities together.
Yeah, and it doesn't work because
it does not work.
They're opposites. And the thing with Hades is like, yeah, he's not a good dude. He literally kidnapped his wife, and people romanticize that far too often. But like, he keeps his promises, and he like minds his business. That's kind of his whole deal. Is there aren't a lot of myths about Hades because he minds his goddamn business. And when he makes a promise, he fucking keeps it. Like, if Orpheus, and he was never going to, had made it out of the underworld with Eurydice, he would have let her go. Like, he lets Sally go at the end of The Lightning Thief because Percy returns his thing. They totally cut out Hades' motivation in the first place. And also, I think I like mentioned this offhandedly earlier, but I'm still kind of confused about how nobody was trying to actually figure out who the real Lightning Thief was. Specifically
like Chiron. Yeah,
like
Chiron's very much in the movie. His vibe seems to be think really hard and do nothing of what he says at the very end, which we'll get to in a couple minutes. All of that to say, with Amanda's rant, what happens as far as the movie goes is the lightning bolt is revealed. Hades grabs it for a second. Persephone gets it from him and like shocks Hades so that he is unconscious for the moment. He lets the people go with the 3 pearls, but she's like, well, one of you has to stay. And then Grover stays for his quote duties.
I almost forgot about that.
To essentially be seduced by Persephone, which is an interesting take. But
it makes me so annoyed because like they make it seem like it's some kind of like they try to make it seem like it's a big
like
moment
a noble,
for Grover.
But there's no high stakes in it because they don't talk about. There's no high stakes. They don't talk about how it's impossible to get out of the underworld. Like it's lame.
And it's also like it's not like a culminating character moment from Grover. He's been willing to sacrifice himself for Percy the whole time. It's not like he grew into this protector role. He's genuinely been, except when he's being a fuckhead because the writers don't know how to write. Like he's been a good, loyal protector. They don't mention his previous mistakes with Talia. They cut out that entire backstory. So
I have more to say on that later.
Oh my god, don't even like.
But yeah, so the pearls get smashed. Sally, Annabeth, and Percy envision being up at Mount Olympus. They get to that Empire State platform. They're about to go try and get into Mount Olympus when, woe behold, out of the sky with his own flying tennis shoes comes Luke. And Luke says, I am the lightning thief. And we're like, wow, you said the movie title. Good job. But also, there's this really big dumb battle that they have. There's one cool part in it at the very end, but the rest is like dumb. They're flying in the middle of the air, like a la Harry Potter, but like they look dumber because they're like fumbling around because their shoes are flying, which doesn't like, if you think about the aerodynamics of it, it doesn't make sense. And it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good at all until the water part. At the end, Percy's able to use the water for the
water
pipes.
effects they nail.
The water part is cool.
Because nobody cares. Nobody cares who
Mm-hmm.
actually has the lightning beam,
No.
like the lightning bolt. Everyone thinks it's Percy, and nobody else is trying to figure it out. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, what's the whole thing is they think Hades is the one that has the lightning, and then it's not. And I think replacing the Ares battle with this Luke battle is
It's
stupid.
dumb. Yep.
And it's also like, hey, Zeus is literally like right there. He's literally right there, and he can't feel his fucking master bolt.
Mm-hmm.
Like seriously?
Mm-hmm.
Seriously? That makes no sense. It's just I understand why he didn't get involved when like it was San Monica Beach or whatever, but
Yeah.
they're literally in his hometown and he's just like, I'm gonna go to war with Poseidon. And it's like, bitch, your weapon's literally been like 2 miles under you or wherever the
Also,
fuck the
what a
fortress is.
nerd for staring at a clock and waiting for it to be midnight to start war. That's some nerd
Yeah.
shit.
I didn't think
This
that
is
was
a
weird
nerd.
because
Heard it here first. Pass it on.
uh
Um, but I do like
um
that Sally, like in a dumb way, Sally knows exactly what buttons to push for them to open the elevators to
yeah, that's
Olympus. Like,
fun.
in what world Sally knows that? But whatever. You go off,
I do
Sally.
like that they don't let her go into Olympus because it's like
Yeah. Because
and
she's a mortal, a
mhm.
pure mortal.
Oh,
I
there's
love
oh
what
sorry.
Percy Jackson says when he gets into Olympus. He says, "My name is Percy Jackson, and I think you might be looking for this." I
That's kind of
love that. It's the
oh
perfect
I
amount of cheese.
it's a very Percy line.
It
Like
is.
again, it's so frustrating because there are some things that they do that are like, oh, this is very Percy Jackson.
Hmm.
And then they do dumb shit like not have Kronos in this movie at all and
Hmm.
have Luke reveal himself outright instead of betraying everybody at the end of
Hmm.
summer and being able to get away. Because the way that this happens, Luke lands in the fucking ocean and then somehow in the second movie is still able to run his fucking army.
Oh, I did like the that Percy does that in the fight where he throws the Triton at Luke's throw and it makes him go all the way down to the ocean. I thought that
Yeah.
was cool.
I like the
But
Triton part. I think
like
it's
the
dumb.
fallout does not make sense. I agree. But it was a cool in the
It's
moment
also
thing.
so weird because Luke, like I've already talked about how I really like Luke in the
Hmm.
first part of this movie, but then all of a sudden in this fight scene, he just loses all of his charisma and charm, and
Yep.
it's like, dude, who replaced you with the wooden dummy of yourself that says generic one-liners about control? And it's also
Hmm.
his motivations aren't consistent because one minute he's like, I need to cause a war between the gods, and the second minute he's like, it's about control and power, and like, no, fun fact, you have daddy issues.
Hmm. Go to
And
therapy, Luke.
you understand that it's so maddening because these writers had the scene where they understood Luke's motivations. The gods have ruled too long and it's time for us to step up. And then they're like, no, actually, I just want control. Like, fuck you. I hate this so much. You don't understand anything about this series. And it's like you lose all of the part of this story that's important because you cut out all the backstory about Talia. You cut out all the backstory between him and his father. You cut out all the backstory between him and Annabeth. You don't explain their connection so that there's no emotional part of that betrayal. You just don't make any sense.
Yeah.
And they also cut out the fact that the shoes were supposed to drag him to fucking hell.
Yeah, but they don't have Kronos, so where are the shoes gonna drag him
Oh
to?
my god, yeah, and it's like, ugh, it's so
Yeah. So the lightning bolt gets sent. It's the lightning bolt gets given back to Zeus. Poseidon has one-on-one moment with Percy that Poseidon's way more into than Percy is. Percy's like, dude, I'm still not over you not being there my whole life, but like it's kind of some reconciliation happens, but not a ton. Annabeth gets a hey, what's up? You're doing great from her mom, um, essentially, and then
they
they go,
re-
huh?
they reveal that the reason that Zeus banned them from seeing their kids is because they were becoming too human because they cared too much.
Yes, I forgot about that.
I didn't.
Yeah.
It's the dumbest shit. You don't understand. The gods are deadbeats. They
Yep.
don't pay child support.
Yep. Anyways, they get back to Camp Half Blood and like things are
Oh
going
my
as
God.
normal.
And then Percy like starts talking from the fifth book where he's like, you've caused this by like by not paying attention to us and like yada yada
Oh
yada.
yeah.
Luke was about to betray you. And I'm like, bitch, this doesn't come up till the fifth book. You're not like
You're
smart or
not
brave enough.
yeah.
And
Back at Camp Half Blood, Chiron is like, this is the part I was talking about earlier where Chiron does a lot of thinking but no action. He goes, You betray, or you lied to me, you left camp without permission, and that's what makes you my favorite student. One, bad teacher move. You don't tell your favorites they're your favorites while they're actively your kids. You tell them they're your favorites the day they go to the next grade.
Uh-huh.
Two, you wanted him to do this the whole time. You manipulated. Like, how did you do that, Kyron? You just thought about it? Cool.
So, fun fact, I just took that as him being like, "Oh, of course you did this, you dumb bitch."
I mean,
And then it all
it's
works
very much
out.
that, but like it's like cool.
Got to talk about Sally though, because
Okay.
Sally takes him to the fucking camp and it's like, "This is where you belong, Percy." And I'm like, bullshit. This is the whole point of the first book, is that he's the bridge between both of these things, and he's actively choosing to not pick either the mystical or the real world. He's choosing to be in both, and you don't understand because you're like, "Yes, this is where I belong. I belong in this magical world." And I'm like, "Bitch, this isn't Harry Potter." Like, he is in
They're
both
trying to make
worlds.
Harry Potter.
Yeah, but he's not Harry Potter because Harry Potter is written by a turf who we don't stand.
I mean, yeah, but that's beside the point.
It's never beside the point.
Fair enough. Yeah, so it ends with Hot Girl Annabeth scene 2, part 2, Bugaloo. And then her and Percy have this battle, and then they almost go for, there's like a fake out kiss, and then she grabs both the swords.
I hate Annabeth in this movie so bad,
Mhm.
but I do think this ending fight scene is like a little cute.
The ending fight scene is good. They don't actually kiss, correct?
Correct.
Which is good, which is surprising compared to the rest of the movie.
I mean, if they were gonna honestly, if they were gonna strip Annabeth of all of her personality,
Yeah.
they might as well have just had them kiss.
No, I like the ending. I like that little bit.
I do too.
All right. And that's how it ends. Before we go into too much of our actual thoughts on how Amanda would fix the movie, I have the DVD of this movie because of course I do. And I went and I looked at the 5 deleted scenes. Would you like to know the deleted scenes?
Please.
The first one is an extension of them at the museum, and Grover goes over to an Athena like bust statue, that is mostly her chest, and takes a picture of the chest and says, "Now those are not implants." And then Chiron, what goes while he's lecturing, goes over. He goes, "Well, let's respect the gods, please." Grover takes the phone, looks at the pictures, shows the picture to the class, and says, "What does this picture tell us about Grover?" And then a random girl goes that he's a perv, and Chiron says, probably," and then deletes the picture. That's the first deleted scene. Mm-hmm. The second deleted scene is when they're at the hotel, and they leave really fast at night because the maid saw Grover with the Medusa head. Grover has this whole explanation about his backstory. He has depth in the scene, and the actor does an amazing job in it. They talk about Talia. They talk about how Grover failed, and it doesn't give like the stuff we're missing about the whole Talia plot line and the whole movie.
Like Luke.
Exactly, it doesn't give any of that. But because Annabeth's also asleep during this point, but Grover like is very serious. He talks about how he failed and that he is terrified of failing Percy and Annabeth in this moment, and that all he wants to like it gives such good growth. And I'm like, why didn't you put this in the movie? That's the second one.
Talia's so important and you cut her out.
Yep.
Like,
the third deleted scene is an extended dance, Grover dancing at the Lotus, which is fine that they deleted it. We had enough of Grover dancing on that stage, in my opinion. The fourth deleted scene is an extended fight scene with the guards at the Lotus. Again, nothing to miss there. And then the last extended deleted scene was an extended version of the conversation with Hades, and I wrote bad take on Hades. He just bitches about how he can't taste anything, and he can't enjoy anything. It's just like a weird, not good
that's
take.
not Hades, bitch.
Exactly.
Not you, but you know.
I know. The prefer the royal bitch.
The royal bitch. The royal writer. Like, who wrote this movie? I just want to have a talk, a real quick talk.
Before we keep diving into our final thoughts, here are the quote fun facts. To talk about the 2 movie ones. Brie Larson auditioned for Annabeth. We could have had a world where we had a better Annabeth. And
we could have had Brie Larson in
I know. I know. Also, when Chiron, before the capture of the flag scene, when Chiron / Pierce Brosnan says, "Tell Dylan and Paris to stop lollygagging." Um, Dylan and Paris are the names of Pierce Brosnan's two youngest sons that were young at that point, so he was able to sneak their names into the movie, which I thought was endearing. Um,
That is
Weird
cute.
but endearing. And then lastly, the fun fact quote is essentially just all of the email drama. So I'm gonna explain this
Oh
to
my
the
God, I love the email drama.
Mhm. So that the audience knows the context. So in 2004, right before this book was being published, Rick Riordan was approached with a movie deal, and like many authors before they have knowledge about the world of movies and book to movie adaptations, he signed it without knowing what that meant. Essentially, he had no right to the script writing process. He was not allowed to have any effect on the movie in general. They did allow him to come on set and to look at the script beforehand, but he did not have any control over it. They did ask for comments on the first draft of the script. He hated the script and has never seen the completed film, and he called the script his reading this first version of the script, he called it his life's work going through a meat grinder. He has since then said that has never blamed the actors or the people on staff that were not executive producers who
Mm-hmm.
like could affect it. Like he understands they were doing a job, and he thought that the bits he saw of the actors, they did a good job, and like when he was on set, he thought the actors were doing good for what they could. And that the actors were all talented, but he even at one point offered the studio to revise the script without pay, because he hated it so much. On his website, you can Google Rick Riordan emails, and it's on Reddit, but it's also he has published it on his website. He has published the two emails that he sent to the producers and the script writers. The first one was after they asked him for thoughts, and he goes into thoughts about how the movie should not be made for 17-year-olds. It should be made for the audience that the books are made for,
Mm-hmm.
12-year-olds, and that they're going to miss a lot of money. And if they want to make a lucrative movie, that they should listen to him. That's the biggest issue, is that they're trying to make it older and they're trying to sexualize, and that there's too much sexualizing. Apparently in the first script, Percy and Annabeth kiss multiple times. Apparently, Grover is way more sexualized than he is in this version that we've seen. A lot of stuff happens that they did actually cut out of the script, just not in good ways. The other big issues he talks about are he's fine with, like we were with the first half of the movie, he's fine with. He's even fine with them changing locations of the road trip stops because he understands that's like a studio set issue. He understands that. His biggest issue is that if they would like to make, and he says this in the emails, if they want to make a full series like a la Harry Potter, is that they need to have the Chronos aspect that we are talking and get rid of the pearls, because the pearls have no mythological basis and they don't make sense. He also apparently in the first draft, Luke is like really skeevy and gross and not believable as a charismatic person. So Luke does improve from the first few editions of the script to the movie because he is likable in the first half. They don't hold it up and they don't have a great ending to that character like we discussed and like Amanda talked in length earlier, but Rick Riordan also agreed to that. And there's a lot more details. If you're a fan of the books or of film drama, like the production drama, I would highly recommend reading those emails. He left all the tea out. He published the emails in 2018, which I think is interesting because a year or two later is when he started talking to Disney about the TV show with his production company. And I think he published those to make the TV show better. Like, I don't know. I think it's a manipulative like tactic.
The conspiracy theory that I am now creating in my brain is that he published those emails so that Disney understood how much creative control he was denied and gave him more.
Yes, I also agree, which he has had way more creative control. Also on his email or on his website's really fun if you want to look at it. It's different from what it was when I went to it when I was a kid all the time.
Wow, wild. They didn't keep the same website for 10 plus years.
Well, they don't have like countdowns for books and stuff. I loved that. But on his website, on like the FAQs, he writes, something to the extent of like, if I talk about it publicly on my platforms, then I like it. If you don't hear me talking about it, I hate it. And that's essentially his like take with whatever, which is like, that's so fun. Also, one more little side note before we go into it. On the DVD, there's like a behind the scenes, the magic of the book coming to life. It's titled something like that, and it's an interview with Rick Riordan on set, and it's so obvious that they're feeding him these lines, and he talks about mostly the book and mostly the lore and mostly the actors. Like, he avoids the movie and like what happens in it. Like, he does a good job. And then there's also like which
Sorry.
power do you have, which god is your parent, little quiz. And I took it the first time, I got Poseidon, and then the second time I took it to see if there's other questions, there's a few variable questions, I got Hermes. And then I stopped taking the quiz. I was like, I'm gonna do this until I get as many gods as I can. And then I was hungry, so I made dinner instead. But yeah, so that's the DVD of this movie, if you are interested. Before I let you talk about how you would change it, because I know you have big thoughts, I enjoy this movie. Is it a good adaptation? Absolutely fucking not. It is known to be a shit like adaptation in pop culture, in nerd culture,
Yeah.
right? I enjoy this movie
yeah.
because it is silly. I enjoy the badness of it because I enjoy watching bad movies for fun. Because like,
This is your Muppet Treasure Island.
Yes, in the same way I like watching reality TV show trash, I like watching this kind of bad movie. It's like, I enjoy it. I love Logan Lerman. I think he's an excellent actor in general, but also in this movie, I think the first half of this movie is great. The only things I don't like is that the whole Kronos effect, essentially everything that comes from not having Kronos, and then which is like slash the Pearl situation, and then also that we find out that Poseidon's his dad too fast. Otherwise, I mean, I'll watch this movie. Is it good? Absolutely not. But I enjoy it.
I mean, do I even need to say it?
I don't think so. If you want to tell us how you want to change the movie, you can do that instead. In a positive way to end this section of the pod.
So what I would do for this is I would keep the first half of this movie pretty much the same. So everything up until about capture the flag remains the same. Once they get to the capture the flag, then what I would do is I would have Percy like go to bed victorious, having a great time. Ooh, he has a dream about like the underworld. And in the underworld, it's dark, it's spooky. And then there's this like he's being drawn into this deep pit where there are these flames coming, and he's like, oh, that's scary. And this flaming voice is like, your mother's alive. If you come to the underworld, you can get her, and this and this and this. Great, we love it. And so then the next day, instead of like this stupid fire Hades thing, he goes to Chiron. He's like, hey, I had this dream, my mom's alive, I can go get her. And he tells him about the dream, and he's like, oh, that's weird. That sounds dumb. We have a plan already. Let's stick to the plan. I'm not giving you permission to go on this. Like, but Percy's dumb and a child. So he's like, fuck this. This is my mom. I'm gonna go save her anyway. It's obviously Hades trying to frame me, and I'm gonna go get my mom. So then the same kind of sneaking out shit happens. The same stuff happens with Luke, but instead of these fucking pearls, Luke is like, well, you need a map to the underworld because or a key or something, because if you don't, you can't get in because they're so sick of people trying to sneak down there and take their shit that they made a key. Here's a map to the key to the underworld. And he says something along the lines of, be careful. These things attract like some pretty powerful things, so just be aware and be ready. He gives them the shoes. He gives them like, they can continue to have the Hydra. They can continue to have Medusa. After the Hydra or whatever the second stop is, I would want them to lose the map or like lose track of whatever they're doing, and they run into Ares, and they have that scene in the diner where Ares is like, I'm stuck and I'm evil, but also I'm going to help you out a little bit because like some cool shit may happen if I help you. And so he helps them get to Las Vegas. He gives them the supplies and the backpack. That's very important. They go to the underworld, and then Hades is like, yo, why are you here? The shoes almost drag them down to hell the way that they're supposed to. They managed to escape and not do that. Hades is like, why are you here? You are not supposed to be here uninvited. Like, why are you taunting me? Like, you need to get the fuck out of here. And then Percy's like, I don't know what you're talking about. You're the one who invited me. And then the whole kind of conversation happens about, well, my helm of darkness is missing, and you're the one that had it. I can't believe you were dumb enough to bring like the bolt here. Now I'll have this as a bargaining chip to get my thing. Like kind of like how it happens in the book, and that's when it's revealed, oh shit, backpack has lightning. Oh, Ares betrayed us. The Pearl Steam still happens. I haven't figured out how that works, and I think he just meets, the sea goddess at some point. Pretty easy scene to slip in there. And that way you can have this plot, you can have a plot instead of a road trip, and then you don't cut out Kronos. You still have Ares, and you still have the betrayal. And that's it.
Nice. I'm assuming you do not think this is a good adaptation, right?
Not even a little.
Okay. I just wanted
Not
to.
even
We
like,
had to say it for the whole podcast premise, right?
yeah, and I know you don't do this with your other guests, but this is like a 0 out of 5.
I mean, it's because you always bring it up. That's why.
Yeah, I know nobody else does it, but I do because I think rating things is important.
Okay. It's 0 out of 5. I would give it a 2 out of 5. That's probably what I'm gonna give it at Letterbox. Maybe 1.5 because it is bad, but I enjoy it.
Yeah, that's
And that's
valid.
on me.
I think you're allowed to enjoy bad things, you know?
Yeah. Um, yeah, and I definitely agree it deserves all the criticism. I just protect Logan Lerman with all causes because
Well,
he
and
is
I think
wonderful.
I almost wouldn't hate this movie as much if like if it didn't have so many things that were almost good, you
Yeah.
know?
Hmm.
I think that's the thing that kills me is they draw me in and then they ruin it in like the last third.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about The Lightning Thief, the Percy Jackson musical?
Yeah.
So, for those of you who have not listened to The Lightning Thief, the Percy Jackson musical, one, you should. I think I'm not a huge like musical head. I enjoy musical theory, or I do enjoy musical theory. I do enjoy musical theater. And like I'm not like, but I'm not super immersed in that world, especially compared to Amanda. Um, I want to go through and just tell you the track names because we've never done an album
Hmm.
on the pod. Here is the track list for the Lightning Thief musical. We have the prologue / The Day I Got Expelled, Strong, The Minotaur / The Weirdest Dream, Another Terrible Day, Their Sign, Put You in Your Place, The Campfire Song, The Oracle, Good Kid, Killer Quest, Lost, My Grand Plan, Drive, The Weirdest Dream, Reprise, The Tree on the Hill, DOA, Son of Poseidon, The Last Day of Summer, Bring on the Monsters, and then they have some bonus tracks as well, which I did not listen to the bonus tracks because they are bonus. But just based off the titles alone, you can tell that the musical hits a lot of the key points of
Hmm.
the book. As far as the creation of the musical, I don't know much about it besides that it was off Broadway for a while and then it did have an on Broadway stint.
I have some fun facts.
I figured you
This
would.
not like a ton because I don't know a lot about it.
Yeah.
But fun fact, this was the only musical eligible for the Tony Awards of Best Original Score of the year that the world shut down in 2020.
Oh yeah.
Because it was the only show that had premiered prior to shutdown.
Mm-hmm.
It was not nominated because critics are horrible.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, like, okay, full disclosure, this is very fun, and I like it.
Mm-hmm.
But I have very similar feelings with this musical that I do with the SpongeBob musical, where I'm like, I know. It is very fun, but it's also very clearly made by people who don't really understand the structure and format of musicals very well.
Gotcha. Okay. I have never listened to the SpongeBob musical because
You're not
I'm
missing a lot.
I figured as much. I enjoyed the songs on this. Like
Hmm.
sometimes they'll shuffle on and like not like it's like usually when I listen to musicals, I listen to the whole album, like it's a
Yeah,
story, you know, and I enjoy them that way. It's very few that are there musical songs that I'll listen to randomly. Like they have to be like iconic songs like Defying
can't
Gravity or
relate.
something like that, right? I just don't listen to musicals that aren't like without like essentially binging the whole album. This is how I listen to
See,
musicals.
I
And
have kind of
some
the
of these,
opposite. I have the
some,
opposite reaction,
yeah.
where you and I are going to both say about the same thing. A
Hmm.
lot of these songs are on my playlist of my, like, as I affectionately call
They're
it,
good songs.
my kick butt playlist, which is what I play when I mow my lawn because I can hear it over the lawnmower. Um, don't at me. It's literally called kick butt.
That's fun. No, I like if when these songs shuffle on randomly when I'm just shuffling
Hmm.
stuff, they're fun. Like the singers are
There's
good.
some.
The story of it is good. I'm sure as an like I'm not sure as a like how a musical is formatted because I'm not again well versed in that portion of musicals. Like
So I think it falls into the
the
trap
pacing
of
is
like
weird though.
the pacing's really weird and it falls into the trap that a lot of musical adaptations do,
Hmm.
where they get so fixated on capturing like the iconic moments that are really important
Hmm.
that they don't understand that when I talk about the structure of a musical, what I'm really talking about is the importance of using parallels and musical themes. And like
Gotcha.
Lightning Thief does this significantly better than SpongeBob. It just reminds me of
Thank
SpongeBob.
God.
It just reminds me of SpongeBob because a lot of these really important dramatic moments don't end up on the album.
Hmm.
Like the confrontation with Hades, not on the album. Percy meeting with his dad, not on the album. Like these are moments that in a musical that like is not in a well-made musical because it's
Hmm.
pretty good, but like in a really like true embracing of the musical format, these are
Hmm.
moments that would have been musicalized in some way or another.
Gotcha.
Like the emotional climax of the show has to take place in a song.
Yes.
And you get a little bit of that with the Son of Poseidon,
Hmm.
which is the song where he's like, ended the confrontation with Hades and is like, "Oh, I am a son of a Poseidon," and I'm like, "Cool. You meet your dad literally after this, and you don't have a song about being the son of Poseidon there."
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
would have been a really quick reprise. You could have done that. There's not enough reprises in this for to be a like really cohesive musical format.
Hmm. Yeah. I will say, as far as like a book to musical adaptation, the pacing is weird. Like
Hmm.
they like it
They
takes
speed through like
let me see, let me
120
count the
pages.
songs. It takes until track 10 for them to be about to leave on the song Killer Quest. And the soundtrack is 19 songs, including the reprises.
Yeah,
So like
crazy.
it's half of it is the whole beginning, which like it's fair because the book is a lot of it is set up for the whole series,
Hmm.
right? Understandable. But like so that is weird. And like the whole road trip is one song. I enjoy that song, but it's
But
one
it's like
song.
cool. We did like again 120 pages in
Hmm. And
4 minutes. 4 minutes?
exactly. Yeah. So
4 minutes?
like the balance is weird, but I do enjoy the musical. And I think it's a strong adaptation plot point wise,
Yes.
but it's not a strong, I like you were saying, musical structure wise.
Hmm.
Right. So it's not
Like they have a
perfect,
whole
but
song for Charon, the
the
fairy guy.
the fairy guy, yeah.
And
The
first
river
of all, it's the
Styx.
same actress who plays Percy's mom, which is
Yes.
kind of fun.
Hmm.
Um, but she gets a whole song that's like 4 minutes
Hmm.
long. And it's like, cool. Fun fact, I'm not that emotionally invested in Karen. I'm
Yeah.
really not. I'm really not. And
Yeah.
like at this point in the musical, we need to be using songs to be tying things cohesively together. But hey, real fast, talking about tying things cohesively together, let's talk about Luke in the musical because they do a really good job with tying
They
Luke's
do.
journey into Percy's journey by tying in that like good kid reprise. And
Hmm.
it's literally that entire minute understands Luke's motivation better than the whole fucking movie, aside
Hmm.
from that one line.
Yeah. No, I agree. Luke, the characters like they hit the characters pretty well.
Hmm.
Mine, I mean, Anna, what about Annabeth in the musical?
I think I feel like she doesn't get a lot. I like what they go for. I really
Hmm.
like her song.
Hmm. I
I like
love her
that.
song.
I like that that's what they go for. I
Hmm.
think I feel like there's probably a lot on stage that we don't get to see
I
of more of their
agree. Yeah.
interactions.
Hmm.
I like that she and Percy are kind of like at odds with each other musically for a lot of it.
Hmm.
I think that's a good touch because they are kind of butting heads the whole way.
Hmm.
And it's not until towards the end where they start to sing kind of like together in
Yeah.
harmony.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. On Rick Riordan's website, on the FAQs, someone's like, "What about the musical?" And he says that he never saw it, or he never saw it because he has a hard time seeing adaptations of his work. He might be triggered. I wonder why. Where would that come from? Not a horrible experience with a movie. Interesting. But he has never seen it, but he says that his fans and his like people he trusts have seen it and said it does the books well and it has the spirit of the books, and he says it was made by fans for fans, so therefore he supports it. And with his whole thing of if I don't talk about it, I don't like it, here he is talking about it, so it has the Rick Riordan stamp of approval, which I
Yeah,
think,
and
yeah,
I think the thing with it is it's like it's very clearly like a show that is made to be done by theater companies, you know?
yes, yes,
There's nothing wrong with that.
mm-hmm,
Like the Shrek musicals of the world, the SpongeBob musicals of the world, like
mm-hmm,
those have a right to exist. The Seussicals of the world,
mm-hmm.
those have a right to exist, you
You're a
know?
good boy, Charlie Browns of the world.
Yeah, Little Women. They don't all need to be like master classes in amazing theater writing.
Mm-hmm,
Oh, the other thing that's hard with this as an adaptation is whenever you like do any kind of adaptation that's part of a series, it
mm-hmm.
sucks to just have the one as a musical because you're sitting
Yeah.
like in one of the songs, I know you didn't listen to them, the bonus song,
Mm-hmm.
Try, I think.
Yeah.
There's that part where it's like the weight of the world's on my shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
But like Atlas is that's such a good reference to the third book, but no one is ever going to see that as a musical because nobody in their right mind is going to write
A
the
sequel
sequel to a
musical.
musical.
Yeah. That's
I'm
not
doing that right
like,
now. It's not a good idea.
yeah. I mean, I would recommend anyone who like lightly likes musicals, I think would enjoy it. If
Mhm.
you enjoy it, not that to say, um, it has sometimes some of the songs have vibes of Dear Evan Hansen musically, not thematically. I but like they have similar vibes of that kind of era of musical theater in my uneducated musical theater brain. Like they're like not the same lyrically,
Well, it's the same
thematically,
like
but same vibes of the
it's the
music.
same like generic poppy music with
Yes.
different vibes of modernism.
Yes.
And again, there's a place for that in the modern world. That's why it's got
Yeah.
big SpongeBob musical vibes.
I
I
have
promise that's the
literally
last time I'm gonna bring this up.
I have literally never listened to a single minute of the SpongeBob musical. So
You're really not missing anything.
I know I'm not, and I refuse to. But yeah. Um is the musical, at least via the album, because I'm assuming you didn't see it in theater, right?
No,
Yeah. Is it a good adaptation?
I think it's a good adaptation. I don't know if it's a good musical adaptation.
I think it's a good adaptation as far as my like theater musical knowledge is reaching.
Hmm.
I think it's a good adaptation. I think it's a better adaptation than the movie.
Oh, easy. But you know what's
Easy.
a better adaptation than the movie? A 3-minute fan project made by a 6-year-old with a camcorder.
Burn. Boom, roasted. Next week is the week. So the plan is, if you've not listened to last week's episode and heard the plan is on Wednesday the 20th, the TV show, the Percy Jackson Disney Plus TV show is releasing the first 2 episodes of the series. We are only going to be discussing the first 2 episodes. Assuming I can watch it at midnight the night before, I probably won't be staying up that late, knowing myself, so I probably will watch it on that Wednesday. After Amanda and I have watched the show, we're going to record an episode. I'm going to try and speed edit that episode and publish it as soon as I can. Will it come out on Wednesday? It might. But again, it might come out that Thursday because I'm going to let myself sleep because I will be working that week and in those days. So, I'm not going to sleep deprive myself for this episode, but I'm still excited for the show, the first 2 episodes. After next week, that next week will be the finale of season 1 of the podcast. So if you want to stay up to date of the fun things I'm planning for season 2, you gotta follow the Instagram, folks. Even if you don't look at it, like Amanda doesn't look at it, you gotta at least follow that Instagram. Instagram at Read
Yeah.
the Book First podcast. Also, I believe the podcast I fixed it now. It should be on Google Play, even though Google Play is getting turned into this YouTube podcast in 2024 sometime. But if you listen to Google Play, it's there now, I think. And it's of course always been on Spotify and Apple Pods and at Buzzsprout, where I post the podcast and host it. Any last thoughts before we close out?
Um,
Nah.
executive producers don't deserve rights.
Fair enough, man. Or at least actually involve the writers.
I said what I said.
Yeah. All right. Thank you guys for listening. And remember, read the book first. Let me stop the